Honey Boo Boo and her relatives have shared everything about their family through the world of reality TV. However, what started off as an entertaining toddler and her eccentric family going about their everyday lives soon turned into the tragic story of a spiraling down family having to cope with a mother battling with substance abuse. It seemed like Mama June had been battling demons of her own for a long time. So what caused her to turn on her own children and spend all their savings all on her addiction?
I've lost myself completely, and I know that. I've lost time. I've lost who I was about. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do my hair. I don't want to do my nails.
Will she ever be able to redeem herself for the hurt that she's caused those closest to her? You're watching Rumor Juice. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you want to be the first to know when we upload new content, give that notification bell a ring too. June Edith Shannon, better known as Mama June, had a personality just as big as her daughter's, and her parenting methods and cooking skills were sometimes questionable. But the entertainment was undeniable and nothing short of reality TV gold. Sadly, the show took a dark turn when Mama June's addiction to illegal substances was brought to light on the show, and her children's welfare was suddenly put at risk. After what seemed to be a fabulous comeback, losing over 300 pounds and having her teeth fixed, Mama June regressed back into her drug addiction, and the whole world was there to see it. What nobody knew was that Mama June had fought this battle of addiction before, and her inner demons were beginning to come to the surface. At the age of just 14, June fell pregnant with her first child, Anna Chickadee Cardwell, in 1994. She dropped out of high school to take care of her daughter, barely a teenager herself. One can only imagine the challenges she had to face as such a young mom. Her youth was taken away from her, and instead of being able to go out with her friends, attending prom, or working on her grades, June had to be a mother. Shannon revealed that she lost her virginity to a classmate when she was just 12 years old.
You had sex when you were 12? Yeah, I had no idea, what it was, how to, whatever. And then it kind of escalated from there.
She also admitted to dating much older men who were in their 20s or 30s. I was honestly just looking for the attention I wasn't getting at home. The young mother was also introduced to illegal substances when she was in her teens. I was always around drugs growing up, she admitted. My sister and brother-in-law sold drugs. In order to keep up with the 3 jobs she was working, along with being a mother, June turned to substance just to prevent herself from crashing. Eventually, her addiction got so bad that she ended up losing her vision in her left eye. Despite partially losing her vision, June didn't stop using drugs until much later in 2004. June went on to have 4 children, each with a different father and never married. One of her most well-known relationships was with Sugar Bear, or Mike Thompson, Alana's father. However, the couple split after June found out that Mike had several dating profiles online and had been cheating on her with both men and women. He later confessed to having a sex addiction and begged for her forgiveness. But June's heart was shattered and she couldn't trust him anymore. After that, June thought she'd never be able to love again. Sugar Bear had been what she thought to be the love of her life. But soon, another one of her relationships would come to light and lead to the cancellation of Honey Boo Boo's show. Honey Boo Boo, also known as Alana Thompson, needs no introduction. Her adorable personality and sassy attitude made the audience's hearts melt when they first laid eyes on her on the reality show Toddlers and Tiaras.
I gotta do the rockstar pattern and I'm gonna get ready. Who likes my glasses? Who likes my glasses? I need these to see.
She made such a big impression that she was offered her own reality show. When the cancellation of Honey Boo Boo's show was announced, fans were shocked and demanded an answer. The shocking news was then revealed that June was dating convicted child molester Mark McDaniel. Believe it or not, but the news gets more shocking. Mark was convicted for molesting June's own daughter, Anna. Back in 2002, June had dated Mark for quite some time. It wasn't until Anna revealed to one of her school teachers that her mother's boyfriend had been touching her inappropriately and making her do things to him that she didn't like that her teacher went to report the abuse to the police. Anna was just 8 years old.
How long did this go on?
It went on for about 6 months. Almost to a year.
What did he say to you about this?
He just told me, don't tell the cops and don't tell anybody in your family at all.
Unfortunately, when she revealed the abuse to her mother, June didn't believe her own daughter. A week or so after it happened, I talked to Mama and she was upset, crying and saying, "I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Why would you do this to me?" she remembered. Mike was convicted and sent to prison for 10 years. However, after his release and following the split from Sugar Bear, Mama June was spotted with the ex-convict, and it was alleged that the pair had reunited. Anna, of course, was shocked to think that her mother would get back together with the man who has assaulted her own daughter. And as soon as the producers of Honey Boo Boo's show caught wind that Mama June was dating a convicted child molester, the show was canceled. June denied the allegations, but it was too late. The damage was done. She did whatever she could to clean up her reputation, which included her massive weight loss surgery, which cost over $75,000, and a brand new TV show of her own. She looked better than ever before, and finally, she was getting her life back on track. She was so proud of herself, she vowed to never pick the weight back up ever again. It seemed for a while that all was forgiven, and with all the new attention came a new man, Geno Doak. For a while, all seemed well in June's world of reality TV. She was managing to keep the weight off. She was in a happy new relationship, and the show itself was raking in a small fortune. Audiences hoped that perhaps things had changed for the better for the Shannon family, but things soon started to change when her behavior took a turn for the worst. I got hooked up with the same people, and guess what I started doing? I started doing meth again. It was shitty this time, but it was the only drug I had ever done at that point. At first, Geno tried to get June to stop the substance abuse, and she did turn it down a notch, but not all of it. At that point, all of her children knew that she was taking drugs, and so did the production crew of her show. I would always tell my kids what was in our bodies, in case, God forbid, something happened. My kids did know. They didn't know to what extent, but they knew what was going on. For some time, June was under the impression that her addiction was under control, but it was far from it. And sadly, Geno joined in on the abuse. By that time, June was almost unrecognizable. She no longer looked like the dolled-up Mama June everyone had come to know and love. Her hair was frazzled, her teeth were falling apart. She no longer cared what she looked like to the world. The only thing she cared about was getting high, and nothing was going to stop her. Not even her own daughters.
Our habit was $2,500 a day, if not more.
You know how much you realize that is? That's like
I wasn't trying to get.
that's 25 grams.
The two addicts
a day.
aren't gonna be.
And me and you take two. We're done.
Even after her daughter Lauren, also known as Pumpkin, confronted her and begged her to stop using drugs, June wouldn't hear it. She simply made an attempt to hide what she was doing, but it was useless. Everyone on the show knew what was really happening behind the scenes, and soon the whole world was going to find out too. In 2019, the world was shocked to find out that both Geno and June had been arrested for the possession of illegal substances. Me and Geno was fighting, so cops was called to a convenience store and they locked us up. We got drug charges. They found a needle on him. After they had been released, it was like nothing had changed. Instead of returning home, the couple bounced from motel to motel, spending up to $4,000 a day on illegal substances. She had completely abandoned her children, and Lauren had to step up to take care of her younger siblings, even though she had a daughter of her own. No one was more heartbroken than Alana, who wanted nothing more than to have the mother that she knew and loved back into her life.
It just makes me feel like, why? It's like, why are you just not trying to even try? Like, you say you love us and you miss us, but you're not even trying to get us back in your life.
She was being taken care of by her sister, when all she wanted was to be back in the arms of her beloved Mama June. Finally, when the couple returned home, the family and production team had planned an intervention, insisting that June went to rehab. However, Geno refused and June wouldn't go to get help for her addiction without him. Eventually, after hours of convincing, the pair agreed to go to a facility to get help.
Do you think that you need help to deal with your alcohol or your drug use?
No. If I'm fully into wanting to do drugs, then I'm gonna jump right in. But then again, if I choose that I don't want to do it, I don't do it.
Unfortunately, it wasn't more than 12 hours later that they had run away, and June had abandoned her children yet again. I was actually pushed into treatment by our production team. They were like, if you don't go, we're going to call DFCS, Department of Family and Child Services. I was there for 11 or 12 hours. I was pushed. I wasn't ready. I honestly believe that if you're not ready, you're going to leave. By this point, June and Geno were broke. She had spent every cent she had saved from her daughter's reality TV show and her own. So, June went on to sell everything she owned. She sold her house along with all her and her daughter's belongings in it. She sold her jewelry and even her daughter's car.
This house was a huge step for the family. I mean, they finally had some stability and they always had a place to go. And then, poof, now it's gone.
However, they eventually ran out of things to sell and no longer had the money for motel rooms. The pair resorted to living in her truck. While June was out spending the family's entire life savings on illegal substances, Lauren was barely managing to take her sisters, along with her own daughter. She struggled to pay the bills, get food on the table, and make ends meet. She was furious that her mother had abandoned her and left her responsible for everyone. She felt heartbroken and betrayed that her mother had chosen drugs over her own daughters. After living in June's truck for a few days, it was then that the couple finally decided that it was time to enter rehab. They had nothing left. All the money was gone. This was their rock bottom, so they went to seek the help they so desperately needed. We felt confident in ourselves that we could do it, and we wanted to show everybody that we could do it, now that we had clean time and stuff. After 25 days, we were dismissed after completing the program. I realized at that point I wanted to do it. Despite having completed the program, June was still yet to mend the relationship with her daughters. After all the damage and heartache that she caused them, they're still not sure if their mother is truly done with illegal substances.
She's telling everybody that she's sober, but then again, I don't believe her because you're still with Geno, so that probably means still underneath Geno's control. And until she gets that out of the way, then she's not really allowed around me and my family.
So, Mama June is out to seek redemption from those that she's let down and hurt countless times. The question remains, will she ever be able to redeem herself? Should her daughters forgive her? Let us know in the comments below what you think.